Alright, last time I'm recording this, what's up YouTube, Yugioh here, bringing you, I don't know. Basically, I haven't uploaded in like a month, or wait, way longer than a month, like a few months since like I think January, something like that. And basically I haven't really had an excuse to not upload. I've had the time, I definitely could have made time and effort and stuff like that, but I'm enjoying doing other things, and I think the game of Yu-Gi-Oh has gotten to this point where I'm just like, I'm so fed up with it. I'm not enjoying it as much. I think that it's not very good anymore. And obviously, like that can change. Formats change and stuff like that. I'm not quitting. I've still been going. I still been going to logos. I think I only missed like one or two. Um, but like the point is it's not as fun. There's a few issues going along with that, but first, before we get into that, I want to talk about what content I am going to be uploading, and I'm going to be streaming every Sunday locals. Right now during the COVID break, since we're not able to have our locals until at least May, probably maybe longer, who knows. Um, I'm going to be streaming them online every week, every Sunday. The show will start at 12 p.m. CST. So look to that if you guys want to see some dueling action. I'm going to be commenting it. I'm not playing. I'm going to be commentating it, and just hosting the tournament and stuff like that. So basically, that's what I have going on. Now let's talk about lack of motivation, and there's a few reasons. Obviously, there's one big one, and I don't have like the same community as I used to. Um, some friends can't go very often because they're working. Like he's still playing, but they work like every weekend. Some people just don't really feel like going. And that's like one thing that's really makes it hard for me to want to go and deal with how shitty the game is, because now I don't even have my like good friends I used to chum with. Like I still have friends and stuff, but not it's not the same having my like my best friends I used to go and hang out with, joke around with, be able to play against and just have a good time. It's not the same. It's not. And so that's one thing of like lack of motivation on as to why. The second thing is the game sucks. So like a lot of people can disagree with me and be like, I actually have a lot of fun playing this game. Like good for you, man. Like I'm glad that you can enjoy the game when I think it's in such a shitty state. Um, and like the number one biggest thing as to like why I think the game sucks is like time rules. The time rules are so bad. Like you don't even get to the end of your turn. You have until the end of the phase. There's no extra turns. So not 0, 1, 2, 3. Basically, when you're wherever your duel is pretty much when you're over, when the game is over. Like, how does that make any fucking sense? Oh, times here, and like our locals doesn't have a clock that you can see. I'm sure a lot of locals don't. Some locals that do, and there's not much you can do to play around the time at that point. Um, So like what do you do, right? For example, I'm gonna give you an example of why these rules piss me off. Game one, I'm playing against an opponent. We're both playing combo-ish decks. Nothing that's like a super crazy long combo, unless they're saying, yeah, let me think to every single play you do, which some people do. But so game one, I look at my hand and it is like, well, I fucking bricked, and I'm like, maybe my draw could be okay. And then he starts doing things and starts comboing, and I'm like, okay, well, he's gonna have enough. Even if my draw's okay, I'm not gonna be able to play. He's just gonna negate it. He's gonna have some sort of stop. There's nothing I can do, so I scoop. Before I even played a card, before I did anything, before I even had a turn played, I scoop. I'm like, yeah, let's just go game two, right? Game two happens. I go first. I do my combos, and I'm able to build a pretty good board, have a good hand. And then, well, now, does he just scoop in this point? No. Does he have a great hand? No. He knows he doesn't have a good hand. But why not try at this point when you're up a game? Why not try to play around, get a little bit closer to time, try to maybe pull this win so you can just win that duel right now, and that way you've won the match. You the match is over. You won 2-0. Why not try? You know, who knows? Like my board, I might misplay. I might not do something correctly. Who knows? Well, so they do that. I don't know how much time advances. So the match goes on, and I win. Game three. I think they let me go first. I think they're playing like hero or something like that, and they can just swing over, do some damage, and win, right? Like that's kind of the goal. Going first when time's getting close is pretty bad, because if you don't have a burn card, you can't attack and do anything, right? So I do my play. I do a combo. I end on a really good board. Um, Not unbreakable or anything like that, but a really really good board, a strong board, and I don't take that long doing it because like I know my combo it's pretty quick. It's nothing crazy. Sure, there's chain links, but I just go through and do it as fast as I can. I don't spend a whole lot of time doing it. Now they start doing some things. I interact. I negate some things, and then all of a sudden time's called. So I didn't lose, but I get a tie because we both won a game. Even though I scooped game one without even playing, I try to play my best for time rules. I try to speed up, but there's so much you can't do everything. You can't do it perfectly. You can't perfectly play around time. You can play cards like Firecrackers. You can play cards like Dogwood, but at the end of the day, if you don't draw them, it doesn't matter, right? If you don't draw them, it doesn't matter. If it's not relevant, it doesn't matter. It's super frustrating to get a tie or lose because a tie, in my opinion, is almost just as bad as a loss. Obviously, it's not quite because it's a tie, but it's just awful. And then it's just bullshit. Like right, like why when I was in a like I negated things and I was at this point where I knew what's in his hand. I knew what's he has no place in graveyard. I was winning this duel. If we had another turn, I probably OTK'd him. If we had two more turns, I definitely won. Like there was nothing really he was gonna do and just come back and win. Like it just wasn't at that point in the game. It was at that point in the game where I clearly know I won. But since time gets called, I get a fucking tie. So I lose out on 2 points that I could have earned for the better record for just not doing anything wrong. That is my problem. And the thing is, I could have got a loss if he just attacked me. Or I activated something like an instant fusion that nagged me 1,000. Obviously I side those out because you don't want that to happen. But like, what do you you do your best to play around shit. You do your best to and you still just get fucked over. It's not fun, and that's happened to me and many other players. Many other players. One of my good friends, Josh, one of the best players I've played with ever. Like he's literally the last like 3 regionals, he got fucked over by time. And you could say, well, he must be a slow player. He's not. I test with him. We're not slow players. We're really honest with each other and we help each other out a lot. So like I know like it's just such bullshit. And so like my problem with the time rules is like we're also at this point in Yu-Gi-Oh where the format is awful. Like I don't think the format's very good. We haven't had a really good format in a while. I didn't mind like the Ip Dingrease, like the Ip plays with Orcus. Like that was kind of fun, but at the same time, there's still a lot of issues with that. But like, so my problem is even if the format gets insanely good, super fair, super balanced, really fun, you still have to deal with these shitty time rules. Like that is what is to me just stupid, just dumb. The time rules are just awful, right? Even if we had time rules in an amazing format like +1 Fire Fist, when there was like a whole bunch of diverse decks, and it was a lot of fun, the time rules would have made that format really bad. Like they were already like time was already lame to lose in that format because you had like cards like Gaga Cowboy and stuff like that they would do on turn 3. But like, oh, now it's like, oh my gosh, like super lame. Um, Now moving on to the next topic. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because this one kind of gets really confusing to talk about. But the format not being good is, part of that is because like a lot of decks are just break my board. They just build unbreakable boards almost, and if you don't draw the card, like you don't draw the Nibiru turn 1, you draw it as your 6th card, or you don't draw the Super Poly, which even now Super Poly is not very good because Union Carrier Lock. If you don't draw your Kaiju, you don't draw your Hand Trap, you don't draw your Evenly, you don't draw your Lightning Storm. Like there's a lot of outs, but there's still that chance you don't draw them, and you can't play all of them. You can't, and some of them are expensive. Like Lightning Storm, I can't afford that. I'm a student and I just can't get that. Like I can't. I'm like, oh, don't be broke. Oh yeah, no, that's cool. Like, okay, Fair enough, right? Fair enough. But even on a dueling book format, I don't enjoy it, and I have all those cards. I have access to everything on like dueling book, right? But you don't enjoy it as much because it's just like what's this deck doing, right? Now let's talk about like so these unbreakable boards, or there's like decks like Altergeist, like that. The problem is that these decks both exist in the same format. That is what I feel is like one of the major problems. You have this deck that's like a like it's not polar opposite. It's technically the same thing, but almost every Yu-Gi-Oh deck is a you can look at it as being like the same type of thing. Um, but like so like you have a deck that makes these unbreakable boards, or you have a deck like Altergeist that sends a bunch of traps trying to make a board that just disrupts you. Obviously it's not like an unbreakable board where they have a card like Winda or Union Carrier or anything like that, but it's like they definitely have a lot of like other issues, right? So they set a bunch of traps, and they use Pot of Extravagance, which is a stupid fucking card because it is a pot of greed for them basically. um and they just said a bunch of stuff. So now I have to choose when I'm deck building. Do I want to main Twin Twisters? This event I'm going to, that's gonna have 300 plus people, 500 plus people. Like, this is just theory because I don't go to big events like that as much. But like, do you want to main deck your Twin Twisters? How many Altergeists are going to be there? How many combo decks are going to be there? How many decks is my Twin Twister going to be irrelevant against game one? How many of them is it going to be really good against game one? There's not really a good way to judge it. There's a lot more combo decks and all like decks, but like, why should I auto lose game one? I shouldn't, and I don't feel like deck building should be like that. There should be no, oh, I don't have an out for that. Like there, I think that's when that's like when the format is almost too diverse. I think diversity is very dependent on what kind of game we're playing, and the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, what it's kind of become. I don't think diversity is super good right now. I think decks that are like one or two format decks, one or two deck format are the best to play because you can kind of have an idea of what you're going to be playing against, you know what I mean? Whereas like when I'm playing against 5 billion fucking combo decks that essentially do the same thing, but you have to hit them in different parts or different cards hurt them. Why? Like, it's so bad. I shouldn't have to be able to choose. Do I want a main deck of twins, or do I want a main deck of an extender instead? Is this gonna break me, or is it gonna not? Like, that's when the game's gotten too fast and too easy. Like, it's just ridiculous. There's not much you can do to prepare it. Sure, you can say, well, that's what the side deck's for. Sure, side deck's always been for that, but there shouldn't be like as many just auto loses. Like there's always been auto lose decks, like obviously always, but I feel like it's come a lot less like common, or it was a lot less common. It's become a lot more common to just have decks. Well, I just auto lose to that. I just auto lose to that. I can't win that. I'll just scoop game one, and hopefully I draw my side deck cards. And if I don't, then fuck my life. Like, it's just so bad. It's just not like fun. And you can do as best as you can to try to make your deck as consistent as possible. But there's like so many iffy things. You can run desires, but what if I'm banishing 10 random cards from the top of my deck? What if I just banish everything and I don't draw my side deck card? What if this and that? It's just become to the point where it's not fun. And it's not very skillful, and there's not like a whole lot of thought process. And I think that the whole thing that makes like really good players good, and these players who can still consistently top, I think what it comes down to is the fact that they're always just ahead of the curve. They have these little techs. They have their players they play with that are good. Like, obviously players are just inherently better than others. Like, that is just what the game is. That's how any video game is. How there's people who are better than each other. But in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I think the best thing that sets you apart is like when you have these little clicks and these little these pro players are in these clicks and they're ahead of the curve, and they know what's oh, this is really good, this is what's going to be spicy, and then they can go into share that, and then they all play it, and then like obviously they're going to shit on everyone else when they're like, well, we found this is just way better. Like, no shit they're going to do that when nobody else knows about it. I like that part of the game. Like, don't get me wrong, that I don't think that's a bad part of the game, but I feel like that's the only really big part of the game at this point. I think that needs to be part of it, but not be like the biggest factor of what's going to help you win. Like, right? Obviously, these pros are good. Like I said, I'm not saying these people aren't good, but you know, they're really good players. They misplay very like a lot less than we would. But they're just that's their really big advantage. That's it. Yeah, so that's the issue, guys. Like that's my problem with the game, and that's why I'm not enjoying it. Will I have content in the future? I don't know. We'll see how Master Rule 5 presents itself. Like I said, I don't think it's really gonna change the game a whole lot. If anything, it's gonna make it faster. But I think that there's a lot of things that need to be addressed by Konami. I haven't quit. Like I still play. I went to the last regionals. I didn't feel like doing deck profiles because I think the ban list was changing right away, and there wasn't just a whole lot of motivation. I didn't really care about the game. I didn't even know like what decks were good at that point, because that was the IP Dingrisu format, I think. And I didn't even know like what decks are super good or anything like that. And I didn't top that regional because I misplay, not because of these rules. Like I know the difference. I know the difference. And I started playing a lot more since then, and I still go to locals like pretty much every week and stuff like that. But it's just to the point where I don't want to get on and just you guys are gonna see videos like this where I'm just bitching the entire time because that's pretty much what I'm doing. I don't want you guys to have to deal with that. I don't want to come off like that. So I don't want to put my heart and soul into something that I just don't care about. Like that just pisses me off. So we'll see how it goes. If the game gets better, maybe I start enjoying it. Maybe the format gets a bit better. I definitely do videos. If you know, even with the time rules, if the time rules got changed, holy shit, I think I'd be super motivated to like go to YCSs and stuff like that a lot more and just actually care about the game. Anyway, guys, that's all I'm gonna talk about. That's it. This is the last time I recorded this. I feel like it probably came off the best possible time. It's a long ass fucking video. So if you made it to this point, thank you. If not, it's all good. If you did make it to this point and you guys want to comment like banana, like the word, I want to see because some of y'all won't make it to this. I want to see how many people actually comment banana. Anyway, guys, that's it. Bye.